Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajata सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां सहगणा दलिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you for coming. We are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, and today we'll be discussing chapter number 32. Let's start the slideshow. Okay, so so far what we have discussed in chapter number 29, Devahuti asked many questions. So she asked about, please tell me how to come out of this material entanglement. Nirvinna, Nitaran, Bhuman, I am frustrated, I am disgusted. And in response to that, Kapiladev says that there are three ways to come out of this entanglement: Jnana, Yoga, and Bhakti. And then he described the process of Bhakti in great detail in chapter number 29. And then he explained about the nature of time also. And then he described about the process of birth and death we discussed. And then Kapiladev, he answers seventh question in these three chapters, 30, 31, and 32. Birth and death of Jiva. So last two classes we discussed in detail what happens when a living entity does something sinful, the path to hell, on the way to hell, kya hota hai, then he comes back in this world, the prayers of Jiva in the womb. So now in the 32nd chapter we'll be discussing today. So after speaking about returning to this world, what the living entity does. So that will be described in 32nd chapter, this chapter entitled Entanglement in Fruitive Activities. So in this chapter, Kapiladev will describe the path of attached worker and a detached worker, Sakam Karmi and Nishkam Karmi. And he'll also talk about the worshippers of Brahman, the worshippers of Virata Rupa, not Brahman, worshippers of Virata Rupa, what they achieve. And then ultimately he'll talk about the superiority of bhakti. So I have put on the group some of the verses I have not put here. So Kapiladev, he starts the description by talking about how the path of sakam karma cannot give liberation. Kapila uvacha athayo grihame dhiyan dharmaneva vasangrihe Kamam dambham kamam artham cha dharman swan dogbhi bhuya pipartitan. So Kapil Dev tells that Yah dogbhi, this personality he enjoys kama, artha and dharma. Dharma, artha, kama he enjoys as a griha medhiyan, as a householder. While he is staying in his house, griha vasan, while he is staying in his house, he performs various types of activities as a householder. And Prabhupada, naturally, the word comes is griha medhi. So Prabhupada focuses in detail on this word griha medhi. Who is a griha medhi and who is a grihastha? So griha medhi, he lives according to dharma. He doesn't break the dharmic principles. But his goal is, I want sense gratification. जीवन में मजा करना है, लेकिन पुण्य अच्छे से करेंगे. I don't want to do sinful activity, but I want to enjoy life. So these people, they'll also invite various sadhus. But why? Punya milta hai. They'll give charity also. They'll give donations and dig wells and distribute food. But purpose is punya. So they work very hard. As Bhagavad Gita also says, kriyate bahulayasham. They work very hard. But the purpose is, I want to go to heaven. Kama atmana swargapara. They have one goal in their mind. Swarg jana hai. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he did so much of tapasya, so he is not classified as the greatest of the tapasvis. Kitna bada tapasya kya koi kar sakta hai. But why he did tapasya? He wanted to enjoy. So of course he did it for the wrong purposes, but there's Grihamedi, he does it for right purpose. He does it in a right way for sense gratification. So Prabhupada writes that they are posted in good positions. And since they know that, they are using their pious credits. So they keep on doing more and more yajna. Karte rehte hain, no? They enjoy also and then they do the yajna more. So Prabhupada writes, it is like puna charvita charvananam. Somebody has eaten bubble gum, chewing gum kha ke wo phek diya hai dusra person. That looks very gross. So that is what is puna charvita charvananam. So this mentality of sense gratification may creep in the practitioners of bhakti also. As we are practicing devotional service, in due course of time, we will not be attached to gross sense gratification, but subtle sense gratification is what? What is subtle sense gratification? Puja, labh, pratishtha. ये प्रभु जी इतनी अच्छी भक्ति करते हैं, ये माता जी को देख के मेरी भक्ति चल रही है, So what happens? We may not say, लेकिन अंदर से अच्छा लग रहा है, बोलते थोड़ा, So that is how the mentality of subtle enjoyment comes in. So we have to be very careful to guard our bhakti lata from this anartha. Of course, even if we hear so many times, but still, when somebody praises us, we may say out of formality, nahi, 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 I am servant of the servant. But still inside, we also like it. So we have to keep hearing about becoming servant of Krishna. Because being servant, nobody likes to become servant in this world. Because servant means exploitation, abuse, no freedom, no independence. But in spiritual world, servant means lots of freedom. Everything is there. Even Advaita Acharya says, I want to become servant of Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Das Abhiman Ei Anand Sindhu Koti Brahma Sukh Nahi Tare Ek Bindu. Even Brahmanand is insignificant in front of Krishna Das Abhiman, the pride of being servant of Krishna. So that's how Advaita Acharya tells, Ho Chaitanya Das, please become servant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is how this, we have to be really careful and always keep on reminding ourselves that why we have come for. Next verse. So such person, although he is averse to bhakti, and he worships devatas with full faith. Sachapi bhagavad dharmat kama muhda paran mukha yajate kratubhir devan Pitrimsha Shraddhayanvitaha. So he is averse to bhakti, but he worships Pitris and the Devtas. Bhagavad Dharma Vimudha, Paranmukha. He is averse to devotional service. He has no interest. And he worships Devatas and Pitris with faith. Shraddhayanvita, he worships them with faith. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, they are all these people, those who are worshippers of Devatas, they are less intelligent. Their intelligence is stolen by material desires. Where in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says this? Kamai staistair rita jnana. Their jnana is rita. Rita means stolen. Apaharan ho gaya uska. Apaharita. Aparita jnana or rita jnana. So that's how Prabhupada writes that, so-called pious and religious men of today's times, they are also actually impersonalists. Because they say God is one. जिसकी किसी की भी पूजा कर लो सब एक ही है. इंडिया में तो यही conception. Why you always go to Krishna temple? You are fanatic people. We are broad-minded, We go to all temples. We worship everyone. We are not like you. So they say they are broad-minded, but this has done lots of damage to Vedic understanding. And people think कुछ भी चलता है, सब चलता है. यतो मत ततो पथ. जो चाहिए करो. सब एक ही है. All paths lead to the same goal. Prabhupada writes, they maintain that whether one worships Kali or Supreme Lord, it is same. This is first class rascaldom. मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, प्रभुपाद गाली दे रहे हैं उधर. Third verse. तश्रद्धया क्रांतमतिः पितृदेव व्रतः पुमान् गत्वा चांद्रमा संलोकम् somapa punareshyati. So then, because he has worshipped devatas, he goes to Soma, Chandraloka, with faith. Shraddhaya Krantamati. With faith, he has dedicated himself to worshipping devatas and pitris. And therefore, there are two Pitrilokas. One is in Chandraloka and one is in hell, Yamloka. तो वहां पे भी जा सकते हैं, उधर भी जा सकते हैं. So they go to Pitriloka in moon planet. And what they do there? Somapa. They drink somras. That somras is not the liquor of this world, or a kind information. So somras is, Prabhupada writes in one of it is an elixir. It increases the lifespan. It increases the health of devatas. It gives more strength. हाँ, जो भी वहां पे रहते हैं देवता भी वही पीते हैं, सोमरस भी वही पीते हैं. So they also go to this moon planet, and punareshyati. After some time, they again come back. Shine punye martya lokam vishanti. Again they come back in this world. There is no permanent residence in heavenly planets. Prabhupada writes, nobody can go to moon planet by material arrangement. Sputnik, Prabhupada gives example of Sputnik. People are making Sputnik. Russia at that time launched Sputnik. And then, he continues that all the people, all such materialistic people, they are all vanquished when the Brahma sleeps. Sleeps, or when Brahma dies. All these people, they get destroyed. Pralay. So there are 4 types of pralay. There is Nitya pralay, Naimittika pralay, Prakritika pralay, and Atyantika pralay. Nitya pralay means something is getting destroyed every moment. Kuch na kuch hota hi rehta. Naimittik pralay means what happens at the end of day of Brahma. All the bhuva swa gets submerged. And Prakritik pralay is what happens at the end of life of Brahma. The entire universe gets destroyed and merges in Mahavishnu. And then Atyantik pralay means when the false ego is destroyed and the living entity is liberated from this material world. That is Atyantika pralay of the gross and subtle body. So Prabhupada writes that these foolish people, less intelligent people, do not know that even if they go to heaven, they will have to come back and ultimately they'll be destroyed. And then he continues, what is the destination of a detached worker? Abhi tak to attached worker. Now, Nishkam Karmi, what he does? Nivritti Dharma Nirata Nirmama Nirahankritaha Swadharmaptena Satvena Parishuddhena Chetasa. So this personality is Nivritti Dharma Nirata. He does not desire any results. Nirmama, no desires. Nirahankrita, no sense gratification, no false ego. And therefore, whatever he acquires, he offers to the Lord. That is the pure mentality of this Nishkam Karma Yogi. Prabhupada gives the example of Arjun. He was a Nishkam Karma Yogi. So two words come here, Nisanga and Nyasta Karmanah. Prabhupada focus on these two words.
What is that travel through sun and then attain Lord?
आते हैं अभी आए नहीं अभी उस पे आए नहीं अभी. Do not desire fruits of their actions and offers them to the Lord. So this personality is Nisanga. He does not desire any material association. Nyasta Karmanaha. He gives all the results of his activities to Supreme Lord. And in this way, he is completely satisfied. Prashanta. He is peaceful. But interestingly, they are not pure devotees. Prabhupada, if you read the translation and the purport of Prabhupada, it is a complete devotional understanding. Because Prabhupada never ever wants to confuse people. ये योगा करना है कि भक्ति करना है. So that's what he does in Bhagavad Gita also. जहाँ पे कर्म योगा है उसमें भी भक्ति, पूरा ध्यान योगा है उसमें भी भक्ति, अष्टांग योगा के चैप्टर में भी प्योर अष्टांग योगा का चैप्टर है. And Prabhupada gives all devotional interpretation. ये चलता नहीं है कलयुग में. कलयुग में हरे कृष्ण मंत्री है. Everywhere Prabhupada does it. And there are many people who criticize Prabhupada for that. Swami Bhaktivedanta has given devotional interpretation. He has not presented the real meaning. Of course, Prabhupada has presented the real meaning, but in a way which brings a person to ultimate understanding, so that he doesn't get confused. अच्छा अष्टांग योगा चैप्टर, अष्टांग योगा करते हैं चलो, कल से थोड़ा प्राणायाम, देन अनुलोम विलोम, देन कपाल, उसमें रह जाएंगे. Because health अच्छा हो रहा है ना, because you can see some perceivable change. हेल्थ अच्छा हो रहा है. ये तो भक्ति कर करके खाली माला घिस गया, कुछ भी नहीं फर्क पड़ रहा है. ना मेरा काम, ना मेरा क्रोध, कुछ भी कम नहीं हो रहा है. खाली मेरा माला घिसता जा रहा है. So all these other things, they give perceivable change very shortly. इसलिए वो देवताओं के पास क्यों जाते हैं लोग? क्षिप्रम ही मानुषे लोके, जल्दी मिल जाता है रिजल्ट. This is the age of impatience. धैर्य है ही नहीं लोगों में, अब भी चाहिए. Oh Lord, please give me tolerance and please give me now. है ही नहीं. So these people, they are not pure devotees because they are not attached to the Lord as a person. They are attached to impersonal Brahman. These Nishkam Karma Yogis, they are attached to impersonal Brahman. अभी तक devotee नहीं बने वो. No form. They are most of the times Brahmavadis, not Mayavadis. Mayavadis mean they reject the form of the Lord and they like the impersonal Brahman more. But Mayavadis, they reject the form of the Lord. They say, hota hi nahi hai bhagwan ka roop. Their destination is hell. They don't go to Brahman. They go to hellish situations. Because anybody who rejects the form of the Lord, that is the greatest sin he is doing. So those who are Brahmavadis, they enter Brahman. So that is how it is described.
After studying so much of Vedas and all, they feel that they are going to effulgence, because they believe in effulgence of the Lord. So after that also they are not getting the entry into conscience and they are going to the hell.
No. If they don't reject the form of the Lord, they'll go to Brahman. But Mayavadis, what they say? Nirgun Nirakar Brahma is the best, is the supreme. When Lord appears as avatar, it is the Nirgun Nirakar Brahma which gets covered with the mode of goodness. And that is avatar. Ultimately, Lord is impersonal only. So that is Mayavadi understanding. And they say we have come from the Lord. So after we realize, we will also become God. So that is Mayavad. They don't get elevated. But those who are Brahmavadis, they understand that Lord has a form also and Lord has a impersonal aspect. But we are attracted more to impersonal aspect. Why? They have seen so much of the frustration in this world because of relationships. इस संसार के किसी भी वस्तु से संबंध बनाओ, प्रॉब्लम ही प्रॉब्लम है. I don't want relation with anything of this world. शांति चाहिए. हाँ वही ना. So they believe in light, but they know the source of the light also. That is Brahmavadi. If they think there is no source, only light, that is Mayavad.
Prabhuji, this Brahma Kumari, where do they go? They believe in both, right? A form also and
उनका बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. वो क्या है, वो अलग एंटिटी है. वो किधर जाएंगे? यान्ति देव व्रता देवान पितृन यान्ति पितृव्रता भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मदया जिनोपि. जो जिसकी पूजा करेगा वो वहां जाएगा. अभी मुझे मालूम नहीं वो किसकी पूजा करते हैं, लेकिन जिसकी पूजा कर रहे हैं वो उधर जाएंगे. शिव बाबा जिधर गए वो भी उधर ही जाने वाले हैं. ओके, सो 7th वर्स. सूर्य द्वारेण ते यान्ति पुरुषं विश्वतो मुखम परावरेशं प्रकृतिम अस्योत्पत्त्यंत भावनम. So going by the path of the sun, they attain the perfect Lord. So now in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter. 8th chapter का title क्या है? Attaining the Supreme. Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter. In that, Krishna describes there are two paths. There is a path of light and there is a path of darkness. सुने पढ़े? Anyone? आपका तो हो गया ना भक्ति शास्त्र. आप भी सुनेंगे बोलेंगे तो कैसे चलेगा? So there is a Shukla Krishna Gati hi ete Jagata Sashvate Mate Ekaya Yatyana Anyaya Vartate Punaha. So there is a path of Shukla. Shukla means light. Krishna, path of darkness. So yogis, they can choose their future destination because that's why they are very careful which time they should leave this body. Matlab, if somebody is staying in Virar और उसको आना है मंदिर, so he'll choose his time, right? सुबह सुबह आ जाएंगे तो जल्दी पहुंचेंगे. बोले नहीं 7 बजे निकलता हूं मैं, तो पहुंचते पहुंचते शाम के 7 बज सकते हैं. That's how yogis, they choose their time, when to leave so that they'll go to Brahman. So they choose Uttarayan because Dakshina is not good. That's the path of darkness. So in that path, the yogis leave their body and they can go to upper planets. And their path goes through Surya Dev, Surya Loka. There are various, वहां पे डिटेल में डिस्क्रिप्शन है. चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर लिखते हैं, oh no, there are various deities, deity of the day, deity of the 6 months, deity of the Surya, ऐसा सब deities उनको गाइड करते हैं. अभी इधर जाओ इधर जाओ इधर जाओ. Ultimately they go to Brahman. So that is the path which is described here. Surya dvarena te yanti. And they attain the perfect Lord means they attain Brahman. That Supreme Lord who is the controller of Para Avara. Attain Brahman. See, if you read the purport of Prabhupada, translation of Prabhupada, Prabhupada will never confuse people. You'll attain the Lord who is the source controller of Para and Avara. Prabhupada writes. He is the controller of Supreme, all the living beings. That is a Bhagwan feature. So, and Prabhupada also writes, Surya Dwarena means illuminated path. Prabhupada writes. So, illuminated path matlab, technically it is the path of light. जो अभी मैंने बताया. Prabhupada writes, illuminated path is devotional service. Simple. कुछ confusion नहीं. जिसका ज्यादा कुछ दिमाग खुराफाती दिमाग रहता है उनके लिए चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर हैज गिवन ऑल द डिटेल्स, बट प्रभुपाद ही नोज कलयुग के लोग हैं, ज्यादा डिटेल्स बताऊंगा बोलेंगे तो अपने लिए है ही नहीं, इसलिए प्रभुपाद की जय बोल के सो जाएंगे, यू नो. So that's why Prabhupada keeps it very simple. कुछ टेक्निकल डिटेल ज्यादा देते नहीं है प्रभुपाद, देते हैं if somebody has the eyes to see, he'll see all the technical details in Prabhupada's purports also. But for a general person, ठीक है भक्ति करना है. So Prabhupada writes, it is advised in the Vedas not to pass through the darkness, but to pass through sun planet. Prabhupada writes, pass through sun planet means path given by pure devotees, path of darkness, path of materialists. So Chakravarti Thakur writes about this. Purusham Vishwato Mukha means he is talking about Virat Rupa worshippers. So he is telling those who worship Virat Rupa. Second canto of Bhagavatam, first chapter describes that in detail. Those yogis who have still some desires, unka liberation kaise hota hai? Those devotees who do not have any material desires, unka liberation kaise hota hai? There is something called as Krama Mukti. So those who still has material desires, what they do? They worship Virat Rupa. फिर विराट रूप वर्शिप करने के बाद कहाँ जाते हैं? They go to higher planets, moon planet or Surya, and then ultimately Brahma Loka. And then what happens there? That is what is described in the next. So this personality, these yogis who are Virat Rupa meditators. Why Virat Rupa meditation is described? For a yogi, why not directly Paramatma? Because हमने यही सुना है ना, योगीज किसके ऊपर ध्यान करते हैं? परमात्मा. लेकिन वो कौन से योगी हैं जिनकी कुछ भौतिक इच्छा नहीं है? They don't have any material desires. They meditate on Paramatma. But some yogis, they still have some material desires. उनको बाकी चीजें भी देखनी है इस संसार की. They are told to worship on, meditate on Virat Rupa. This is describing Virat Rupa worshipper. पहले क्या बता दिया उन्होंने? जो कर्मयोगी निष्काम सकाम कर्मी है वो क्या करते हैं, फिर निष्काम कर्मी है वो क्या करते हैं. अभी ये जो योगी हैं अष्टांग योग में आ गए, वो क्या करते हैं?
जो निष्काम कर्म योगी है, you say they are not pure devotees, so they will go उत्तरायण की तरफ से, like prefer उत्तरायण में they go up, right?
And they reach till ब्रह्मलोका, सत्यलोक में जाते हैं, वहां तक पहुंच जाते हैं. They reach till ब्रह्मलोका. उसके बाद अभी कंटिन्यू होगा.
Because there it was written, Mataji also said, no, that they attained Lord and Brahman was written. That is why.
That is the highest understanding. वो end में क्या होता है वो बताएं. So these nishkam karma yogis, they attain sayujya mukti ultimately. सायुज्य मतलब ब्रह्मन वही हो गया ना, सायुज्य वही है ना.
ब्रह्मन में
ब्रह्मन एंड सायुज्य सेम है ना. सायुज्य means enter into Brahman. So then, so this was talked about a person who has no material attachments and he is focusing on Brahman. He offers all the results of the Lord, results to the Lord. So ultimately he attains Brahman. Now, if they worship, ये तो एक प्रकार के योगी हो गए जो निष्काम है. There are two types of yogis I told. A yogi has no material desires, they enter directly Brahman. If the yogi has still material desires, what do? They worship Virat Rup. और विराट रूप में वर्शिप करने के बाद ultimately they will go to Brahmaloka. Because the prime entity of Virat Rupa is Brahma. So they worship Brahma also. So जिसकी पूजा करेंगे उधर जाएंगे.
Prime entity for Virat Rupa is Brahma.
He is the soul of universe, right? वो भी टेक्निकल डिटेल में नहीं जाते हैं, उसका एक और क्लास हो जाएगा.
Virat Rupa is Krishna himself, no, actually.
That is the gross form. Our body has a gross form. Our body has a subtle form. and soul. This universe has a gross form. That is Virat Rupa. Our universe has a subtle form. That is Hiranyagarbha. Our universe has a soul. That is Brahma. And हमारे बॉडी में और भी बहुत सारे souls हैं ना, छोटे छोटे living entities, all बहुत सारे हैं. All those are us. So Brahma, Hiranyagarbha is the aggregate of all the living entities put together. उसको बोलते हैं Hiranyagarbha. So anyways, it is technical details, उसमें नहीं जाएंगे अभी. जिसको समझ गया ठीक है, नहीं समझा तो कोई बात नहीं. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय बोल दिया एंड में. विराट, because it is technical topic. Yeah, it is technical. उसको समझाने के लिए फिर बहुत डिटेल में समझाना पड़ता है, तब जाके फेस देख के समझता है, समझा नहीं, you know. तो जितना समझा वो ठीक है, नहीं समझा तो एंड में चैंटिंग ही करना है हमको ना. बिकॉज बड़े बड़े लोगों को नहीं समझ आता है. हमको भी ऐसा हमारे पावनेश्वर प्रभु एंड बलराम शक्ति प्रभु समझाएं तो थोड़ा बहुत some drops have entered. So anyways, so Prabhupada makes it very clear in the purport. If you are really confused, just read Prabhupada's purports. Prabhupada writes, Parasya Parachintaka matlab ye, they are always thinking of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Simple है ना, कुछ confusion नहीं है. किसके चिंतन करना है? भगवान का है ना. उसमें हिरण्यगर्भा किधर और विराट रूप, no problem. Parasya Parachintaka means those who are fully Krishna conscious. Such people directly enter the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. No confusions. Prabhupada keeps it always very straightforward, simple, to the point. Ant mein kahan jana hai? So these people, they stay in Brahma Loka till the end of Brahma's life. And when Brahma dies, so Brahma attains liberation. If he's a pure devotee, he attains liberation. And these people, these yogis, they along with Brahman, along with Brahma, they merge in Brahman. But those worshippers of Virat Rupa who do not have bhakti towards Vishnu, what happens to them? They are not sufficiently pure yet. So what happens to them? They enter back in the body of Mahavishnu. They are not purified yet. So Brahman mein kaise jayenge? They enter the body of Mahavishnu, and then at the next creation, they again appear.
Even if they are worshipping the Virat Rup, they are not bhaktas. You can't.
No, they are not devotees. They are worshippers of Brahman. They are worshippers of Virat Rupa. So Virat Rupa worshippers.
They're not. They're worshipping Virat Rupa, so they are not actual devotees. You can't tell them devotees.
They are not devotees. They are yogis. अभी तक हम भक्त की बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, इसमें योगी हैं, ज्ञानी and yogi. So these are yogis. These are ashtanga yogis. These are not bhaktas. So these people, ashtanga yogis, they worship Virat Rupa. They go to Brahma Loka. They stay with Brahma ji for the entire life of Brahma. उधर रहते हैं पूरा सत्यलोक में. And then after this, their life is over. When Brahma ji dies, he enters Brahman. And if they are pure, they'll also go with Brahma. Or if they are not pure, they'll come back to Mahavishnu. उसमें मर जाएंगे. इतना सब बोलने के बाद बोलते हैं, देखिए, since without bhakti no one can get liberated, so better worship Vishnu, better surrender to the Lord. Athatam sarva bhutanam ritpadmeshu kritalayam shrutanubhavam sharanam vraja bhavena bhamini. O affectionate mother, O Bhamini, therefore, what you should do? Sharanam, take shelter with love of that Supreme Lord who is Rit Padma, who is there in the heart of every living entity. Please take shelter of that person. So even if you do all the endeavor, you go up to Brahma Loka, itna bhi gymnastics karke chale gaye Brahma Lok mein, there is no guarantee that will be liberated because bhakti nahi hai. So if there is no bhakti, There is no question of liberation. So that is the ultimate understanding. So therefore, Kapila Dev advised his mother, do not go to any other process. Indirect क्यों चल रहे हैं? I am giving you direct path. Why are you going to karma and then jnana and then ashtanga? इतना detour करके. So practice bhakti. Prabhupada writes that actually Devahuti is already situated in that perfectional stage. That's why Lord appeared as his son, as her son. So he is saying, आप जो कर रहे हैं करते रहो. You know, don't get distracted by all the other paths. And then he says, what to speak of anyone, even if Brahma, Kumaras, Marichi, and all the great sages, if they do not have bhakti, they also don't get liberated. So bhakti is the ultimate thing which is required. And then Kapila Dev again criticizes Sakam Karma. He says these Sakam Karmis, their minds are attached to this world. They perform all their prescribed duties nicely. They are always tormented by passion. They want more and more and more. Dil mange more. I want more and more things in life. Nothing will satisfy this person, whatever they may get. And they worship Pitris also. Many people, they put photographs of their forefathers and they literally worship them also. That is there. So with all these things, they are only interested in dharma, artha, kama. Traivargikaste purusha vimukha harimedhasaha kathayam kathniyoru vikramasya madhudvishaha. Traivargika. Traivarga means dharma, artha and kama. These people are only interested in these three things. They are vimukha. They are averse to Hari Katha. They are not interested in Hari Katha at all. That Hari Katha is Kathaniya. Kathaniya means worth speaking. Shravaniya, worth hearing. Ikshaniya, worth seeing. Sprihaniya, worth desiring. Bhajaniya, worth glorifying. Everything about Lord is worth. It is worth it. But these people, they have no interest towards Harikatha. They are always averse. And then he says, they are like hogs. Bhagavat, ये बोल रहे हैं, वही बोल रहे हैं. नूनम देवेन विहता ये चाच्युत कथा सुधाम हित्वा शृण्वन्त्य सद्गाथाः पूरीशम इव विड्भुजः. So their devena vihata, their intelligence is lost. And therefore they don't have any taste for Harikatha. That Supreme Lord's pastimes, which is so sweet, they have no attraction. And that is the condition of most of the people of the world. मंदिर जाएंगे, मंदिर आइए क्लास में. जब भगवान का बुलावा आएगा तब जाएंगे.
Prabhuji, they also say we believe in अच्छा करना है and to be good to everyone and to do good. Like
that's why they come under materialists. Materialistic कर्म कांडी है वो. Sense gratification करना है. Be good. We believe in work is worship. Chaitanya Charitamrita says if work is worship, then donkey is the biggest worshipper. कितना मेहनत करता है बेचारा. क्या हुआ? अरे उसको क्या जरूरत है करने का? That grass is available anywhere, right? You could have went out and eaten that grass, but उसको वैशाख नंदन बोलते हैं. मालूम है ना वैशाख नंदन क्यों बोलते हैं? तो इसलिए मतलब हिंदी में बोलते हैं तो बहुत एकदम ऐसा पंच लगता है. इंग्लिश में थोड़ा सा रिफाइंड लगता है. बोले हैं गधा है. So ऐसे ही नहीं बोलते हैं गधा. Everywhere sense gratification is there, फिर भी इतना मेहनत कर रहा है. That's why Prahlad Maharaj tells his friends, why are you, oh my friends, please don't endeavor for sense gratification. तत्प्रयासो न कर्तव्यो यथा आयु वयः परम न तथा विन्दते क्षेमम मुकुंद चरणाम्बुजम. Please don't endeavor for sense gratification. वो anyways मिलता है. सुखम इंद्रियकम दैत्या देहिनाम देह योगिनम सर्वत्र लभ्यते दैवाद यथा दुःखम मयत्नतः. Nobody endeavors for pain. जीवन में बहुत सुखी हो गया हूँ, थोड़ा दुख चाहिए. Nobody says like that. Still, happiness, pain comes without asking, happiness will also come. So these people, they are attached to Gramya Katha. बातें करते रहेंगे, इधर का उधर का उधर का उधर का, 2 घंटे चल रहा है, उसके बाद उन्हें जान दो अपनी बात करने का. They will never hear about Hari Katha. They are like Vidbhujaha. They are like pigs eating rubbish. And first canto Bhagavatam also describes the places, all these literatures, they are compared to what? All the nonsense literatures of the world. नहीं, उसका और अच्छा एक, they are pilgrimage place for the crows. Tad Vayasam Tirtham, नाम भी वायसम तीर्थ है वो, कौओं का तीर्थ स्थान है वो. So that's how. And devotees, Nayatra Hamsani Ramantyu Sakshaya, devotees are not interested in all this katha. So all this political katha, Bollywood katha, nationalistic katha, devotees have nothing to do with all that. We should do the needful. Don't get absorbed in all those things. So Prabhupada writes, these persons are condemned by supreme order as much as hog is condemned. The hog is interested in eating stool. Prabhupada says, even if you give halwa made in ghee to the hog, I have a better food available. उसका और ग्राफिक नहीं दूंगा डिस्क्रिप्शन. मतलब ऐसा Prabhupada ठीक है, जान दो छोड़ो. So these people, they are like these pigs. So what happens? How do they take rebirth on earth again? So they perform all the rituals, all the yajna, they go to Pitri Loka and they exhaust all their pious credits and they again fall back to earth. And then, therefore, Kapil Dev says, therefore, O my mother, please practice, worship the Supreme Lord, practice devotional service. Tasmat tvam sarva bhavena bhajasva parameshtinam tadgunashraya bhaktya bhajaniya padambujam. Therefore, tasmat sarva bhavena, with full attention, bhajasva, please worship. Whom to worship? Parameshti. So Brahma is also called as Parameshti, but here Supreme Lord is called as Parameshti. And please worship that Supreme Lord who is Tad Gunashraya Bhakti. Get attracted to the qualities of the Lord. In this world, name of a person attracts. More than name, form attracts. More than form, qualities attract. More than qualities, the activities attract. He is doing such a wonderful thing. So similarly, we have to get attracted to guna karma of the Lord. That is how a devotee should always be. Satamayam sarabhritam nisargo yadarthavani shruti cheta samapi pratikshanam navyavadachyutasya striya vitanam iva sadhu varta. Just like people who are materialistic, they are absorbed in topics of women. Similarly, the devotees are always attracted to the topics of the Lord. For them, it is always new. Nobody says, bore ho gaye, wahi katha suna rahe hain, thoda naya suna. It is all attractive. So Prabhupada writes, devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the only means for attaining highest perfection. And then he glorifies bhakti in more detail. So in the 11th verse of this chapter, Lord had told Devahuti, his mother, please practice bhakti. And then he describes something about pravritti marg, and again he is telling, please worship bhakti, please worship Supreme Lord, do bhakti. And then this verse is very famous, very similar to the first canto verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Brahma Darshanam. Only the last line is different. So when the bhakti is directed towards the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhakti Yogaha, what happens? Janayati Ashu. Ashu means quickly. Quickly two things will appear. Vairagya and Jnana. Janayati Ashu, Vairagya and Jnana. It will happen for sure. नहीं हो रहा है मतलब कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. If you are still attracted to old movies, चाय नहीं, मेरा चाय नहीं छूट रहा है मतलब कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. We are still attracted to all those things, or most of us, giving up tea, coffee was not a big thing. It happened automatically. Nobody had to tell us repeatedly, chai nahi pine ka. No. So Gyan and Vairagya comes automatically. Prabhupada writes, all the good qualities develop in the devotees naturally. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. And Prabhupada writes, the word used is Brahma Darshan. Prabhupada never leaves a chance to chastise Mayavadis. यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हैं? ब्रह्म का दर्शन. अभी दर्शन कैसे होगा? रूप नहीं होगा तो. So that means Lord is personal. Lord is not impersonal. So then, he continues that, okay, devotee may ask, by what symptoms should we understand that Gyan and Vairagya is produced by bhakti? So he says there are two symptoms. First is, this personality doesn't see the dualities of the world. Happiness, distress, insult and honor. He is equipoised. Kitna bhi koi glorify kar de. No, we are not so, that person is not so puffed up thinking, "Are tu hi samjha mere ko." Koi nahi samjha, At least you are glorifying. Nobody has understood. And if somebody insults us, think, okay, anyways, I am smaller than the smallest 1 by 10,000. And if somebody says you are good for nothing, just thank you, I am actually nothing. So he realizes all that. So Prabhupada writes, he doesn't see the dualities of the world. Dvaite bhadra bhadragan sab manodharma ei bhal ei mand sab. Dvaite bhadra bhadragan ei sab manodharma ei bhal ei mand sab mano ei sab bhram. So all the dualities of the world is illusion for this personality. Is not so much interested in all that. And then this personality sees everything with his intelligence. And therefore, Kapil Dev, he says, all the results of jnana, yoga, karma are produced by bhakti itself. How is this possible? Because karmis, ultimately they also go to Brahman only. And jnanis, they attain Brahman. Yogis, they attain Paramatma. What are all these? They are different features of Bhagavan only. So if somebody has 1 crore, that is including 1 lakh and 1,000 and 100. So that's why he says, Jnanamatram param brahma paramatmeshwarah puman drishyadivi pratak bhavai Bhagavan eka iyate. That Ek Bhagavan is perceived as Param Brahma, as Paramatma, and the same Supreme Lord is perceived as Paramatma also. Param Brahma is Brahman, and Paramatma Puman is perceived as Paramatma also, that same Lord. So therefore, a devotee gets everything. There should be no doubt कि भक्ति करने से ये नहीं मिलेगा क्या? जो चाहिए सब मिलता है. Even if somebody wants sense gratification of this world, he'll get it. That is better than going to devatas and asking that. Why it is better? If somebody has material desires, and if he thinks, should I go to devata or should I go to Krishna? So when we go to devatas, they may also give, and Krishna will also give. But Krishna gives in a way कि दोबारा मांगेगा नहीं. He will do it in a way that devotee will think क्यों मांग लिया, नहीं मांगना चाहिए. That's what Dhruva thought. Sthanabhilashi tapasi stitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam kacham vichinvannapi divyaratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. Oh my lord, I was looking for broken pieces of glass. I got diamond. I don't want anything. Still, Lord gave or not? He gave. Why? Because Lord is thinking, इसको नहीं दूंगा तो आगे कोई मेरी भक्ति करेगा. Everybody will think ये तो खाली माला पकड़ा के बोलते हैं thank you very much. No, Lord gives, but the devotee really repents. Why did I ask for it? Because it is a distraction. A bhakta gets anything he wants. Yat karmabhir yat tapasa jnana vairagyashchet yogena dana dharmena shreyobhiritarayrapi sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhate anjasa swarg apavarg mad dhama kathanchid yadi vanchati. Krishna is telling to Uddhav, my devotee gets everything, anything he wants. जो भी कर्म करके मिलता है, तपस्या, दान, धर्म, योग, कुछ भी करके मिलता है, मद भक्ति योगेना मद भक्तो लभते अंजसा. Easily my devotee gets it. You want sense gratification? You will get it. स्वर्ग चाहिए मिलेगा, अपवर्ग वो भी मिल जाएगा, मद धामा वो भी मिलेगा. So that is how when you worship the Lord, you get everything. And then Kapila, he speaks about little more about the Gyan. Etavaneva yogena samagreneha yoginaha yajate bhimato hyartho yada sanga tukatsnashaha. So by this practice of Jnana, what happens is complete detachment. So Gyan Marg leads to complete detachment. And this detachment is necessary for all the paths. Either you do karma or jnana or not karma. Jnana, yoga, ashtanga, kuch bhi karo, detachment is must. Nobody say, I am attached. मैं उधर भी उतना ही. You should do both, right? I don't leave anything, but I am just adding Krishna. It is not possible. If you keep on adding Krishna, for sure, Krishna will start pushing some things out. Krishna is a jealous God. मेरे को पूरा space चाहिए भाई. So Krishna doesn't allow any competition. If you want me, then everything else should be out. Of course, for our benefit, he does it. So then, because Devahuti, she desired, okay, I wanted to hear, I want to practice bhakti. And I want to hear something more about jnana. So Lord explains a little more about jnana. And then he concludes by telling, I have explained everything to you about Brahman. So therefore, how to see Brahman? With faith, with devotion, practice, yoga and detachment. वो ज्ञान के बारे में बता के लास्ट बोल रहे हैं, इत्येतत् कथितं गुर्वी ज्ञानम तद ब्रह्म दर्शनम येनानुबुध्यते तत्त्वं प्रकृतेः पुरुषस्य च. So Gurvi means, oh mother, I have explained about jnana. That is Brahma Darshanam. That jnana leads to Brahma Darshan, realization of Brahman. And by this, one can understand Prakriti and Purusha. So that is the understanding. And then he says, there are various paths to realize God. Jnana yogascha mannishto nairgunyo bhakti lakshanaha dvayorapyeka evartho bhagavad shabda lakshanaha. So he says, Jnana Yoga, the goal of Jnana and Bhakti is same. And that is known as Bhagavan, Bhagavat Shabda Lakshanaha. And he says that same Lord can be perceived by various paths. By the practice of pious activities, by sacrifice, by charity, austerity, study, all these paths, ultimately you reach Bhagavan only. And then after telling this, he says, what is the qualification to receive this knowledge? He says that I have described to you the types of bhakti. I have described to you the nature of time. Now he is summarizing. Pura ho gaya abhi. This is a Kapila Sankhya Yoga. This is the almost last part. So he is summarizing that I have described to you about the types of nature of bhakti, the nature of time, the samsara of this jiva caused by ignorance, how the living entity travels in this world, and how he achieves a Brahman. All that is described. And then he says, whom you should tell this and whom you should not tell this. Bhagavad Gita also Krishna speaks similarly. You should never ever speak this knowledge to those who are faithless and envious. What is that last verse? Jaidam paramam guhyam madbhakti. I forgot. 18.73, 74 that describes. So here also he's saying the same thing. One who is agnostic, envious, proud, you should not give this teaching to that person. So whom to give this teaching to? Shaddadhanaya bhaktaya vinita anusuyave bhuteshu krita maitraya sushrusha bhirataya cha bhairjata viragaya shanta chittaya dhiyatam nirmatsaraya shuchaye yasyaham prayasam priyah. Shraddadhanaya, please speak only to a person who is faithful, anasuyave, non-envious, and vinita.
Suya is same and down there is just
Down कहाँ पे क्या है? नहीं, all these are different है. So vinita, one should be humble and okay, and bhuteshu kritamaitraya, one should be friendly to all jivas, and shushrusha abhirataya cha, he should continue to practice bhakti with faith, and bahirjata viragaya, one should not give this to people who are one should give this to people who are detached from material objects. Bahirjata viragaya, shanta chittaya, those who are peaceful. Otherwise, if you are not peaceful, anyways it's difficult है. क्या समझने वाले है? So shanta chittaya, please give to these people. Nirmatsara, okay, nirmatsara and asuva is same. Nirmatsara is unselfish, and shuchaye is pure. Yasyaham prayasam priyah, and give to those people for whom I am the dear thing. So that is how he ends this, and then in the end he tells the phala shruti. इतना सुनने का क्या फायदा हुआ? इत्येतत् कथितं गुरवी. Oh, sorry. I started. नहीं, मैंने वो डाला नहीं, गड़बड़ हो गया. I'll decide this. यइदं शृणुयात् अम्ब श्रद्धया पुरुषः सकृत् यवाभिधत्ते मच्चित्तः सहियेति पदवीं च मे. He says, O mother, यइदं शृणुयात् amba, O mother, amba means mother, one who hears this with shraddha, with faith, and with affection, and if one hears and chants about me, my names, what happens? Sahiyeti padavim chame, he will return back to my abode. So that is the end of this chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita and Sankhya Yoga, and this same meaning.
No. There Sankhya means the knowledge of the soul and the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita gives the knowledge of soul. But here it is great detail because वो emergency edition है. because it is a very small, very less time Arjuna had. So Krishna spoke so many things in nutshell. And Shukdev Goswami and Maitreya Muni Kapil Devi is explaining to Devahuti in great detail. And इससे भी ज़्यादा detail में उद्धव गीत में Krishna tells to Uddhav. So that is the progression. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah.